So, Ivana, you've been doing lots of work on yourself recently in regards to your own journey. Can you share a bit more about the inner work you're doing with Ivana?
I started to see a therapist, and this lady asked me questions that, okay, so here, you can continue to see me and we can do some treatments on your body, or you can start a healing process. I was like, healing process? Oh, wow. I had unbelievable curiosity. I'm so curious that, of course, this triggered me straight away. And I thought, what is that? What is this healing?
Yes.
I was like Googling like healing. Okay, healing. Yeah, I was then thinking healing. I laugh because really, I remember me Googling. I was like, what is that? So, and I decided to start this journey because I had a lot of anger. I felt anger towards what happened to me. The question that the therapist put back to me was like, you mirror yourself into, these people. Maybe you also are like that. So I decided to study. I love human beings.
I love the mind, don't you?
I love to see what is behind the scene.
Yeah.
Say that in English?
Yes, yeah.
I like to go further.
You like to go deep.
I like to go deep. There's always something that triggers us. And particularly in my past, since I became a mom 6 years ago, and because of also in London, I was very much exposed as a leader or team head of our department to deal with people in different culture. This challenged me a lot. This little Ivanita coming from south of Italy, suddenly, in London, in such a big competitive environment where, I need to pull myself out and stand there and, and make my voice loud. Yes. Oh, not loud, but like listen. Yeah, bigger. I saw so much insecurity. So I remember all the manifestations of unhappiness, frustration that I could see around me. Sorry, this was still around me, not me, around me. Yeah. There is something going on with these people. So when I had then my little boy Liam, my bigger now, maybe till now was how my question was again. I always ask myself questions. So was how can I grow up a human being who is happy with himself? Wow. And this was like always like at the back of my mind. What can I do to make this little boy happy? Whatever happened to him, whatever he's going to, it just is okay with the way how he is. Because I do believe that a lot of frustration is because we want to be somebody that we are not. So we push again our boundaries and we do not respect ourselves for what we are and what we can give.
Can you briefly take us back to your childhood and your relationship at home with your mum and your dad? And did they give that freedom to be who you want to be? Did they have that same attitude that you have with Liam now?
I don't think so. I mean, I didn't realize that until now. I grew up in a beautiful family, and I do have a lovely relationship with my parents and with my siblings. However, my mom was a housewife, a beautiful, a lovely mommy and a housewife, and my dad was a workaholic till today. He's almost 80 and still works. So I got, I understand so many things now.
About very traditional.
Very traditional family. They were very, each of them with a duty within the family, and again the family was like a company, so it was working perfectly because my mom was in charge of our education, and my dad was the one that was getting the money, the provider.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, and they would never jump into each other's feet.
The separate roles.
Separate roles, absolutely defined. Absolutely defined. So, however, definitely the traditional family from the south as well. Italy is a religious country as well. Lucky enough, my family is not that religious. However, they were also, particularly my dad, they were asking me to go to church every Sunday. I grew up having my nonna, my grandmother, living just downstairs. The same building.
Yeah.
With two of her sisters. So of course it was all about, I was going to visit them in the afternoon after my homeworks, and I would listen to the radio with Ave Maria, going on. So, I mean, the religion being like a good, there was always like be a good girl, bad girl, angel, devil, right, wrong. So, yeah, exactly. So every behavior, there was a judgment of every behavior. But I do appreciate that. I love everything. Like, I wouldn't change any penny of the way how they raised me. I know that they have done the best they could do. However, this has limited my personality. I started suffering when I went to the lycée, so to the high school. One day, I come back home, and during lunch, I said to my parents, I was 16 years old, I said to my parents, please promise me that I go to study somewhere else. I don't want to be here. So I felt always different from other people, not necessarily better, but I think different. I was like, I never want to conform. My challenge was that I didn't want to conform to what everybody was doing. So whether, my girlfriend, they were choosing all red shoes, I would definitely be the only one buying the blue shoes. This is just me.
But that was part of your rebellious streak. It expressed itself then, going against what you're telling me to, or what you expect.
Yeah. I mean, I have carried a lot my life like that, with this, like, fighting, possibly, I don't know if it was kind of fighting with myself or challenging myself, but I didn't feel I was fighting. I was okay. And I was seeing, like, the problems on other people. I didn't know that I had anger in my body. I didn't know that I had fear in my body. I didn't know that my body is holding sadness.
Yeah.
I didn't know about that. I couldn't see that. I thought I was extremely happy and everything was absolutely perfect till last year when I had to stop.
How does this show up in your life in terms of good, bad, playing a role?
Yeah. So since we moved to the island, the relationship with Eric already changed a little bit. We had the past lockdown in London, but when we moved here, there was already like a change because we wanted to have an au pair, but we decided to get a family friend from Eric, from my husband, staying with us. And this turned out to be a very challenging experience for me, particularly because this girl could not really take care of, was not even talking. She could not, really was extremely introverted person, would not help in the house. So again, I was going back. I was coming back to work. I was my husband at the desk working. My little boy playing alone with his uniform still on, the girl in her room, the sink with the dirty dishes, and myself the business woman I wanted to be, dealing with all of this. And this had a massive impact on me. And I started saying to my partner, I don't want this lady to stay here, to stay with us. It's not helpful. And it's already when we started not being on the same page, because I do understand, really, I mean, I love him and I appreciate everything. I think it was very hard for him to tell his friends that, was not working properly. It was hard for him to deal with my frustration. I started to be frustrated every day, and I had to deal with this girl for 4 months until one night I got so desperate that I had the worst reaction ever against my partner. I almost wanted to hit him and I throw like a pillow into him, because I was like, okay, I can't deal with this anymore. I'm telling this to you since months. If you cannot tell this to her and you cannot see that, I'm going to do that. Tomorrow, I tell her that this is done. End of the month, she has to go. But I had to become so aggressive to make my voice stand out. And I started thinking, why do I need to do that? So we struggled. We started struggling a lot. Then my work was not helping me. So I became not like, because I felt like, as I said, I would go back to work. So, I moved to Mallorca. I have an amazing job, a very good salary. My partner has an ambitious job as well. We live in a beautiful apartment in the old town. We have an au pair. So life is beautiful, right? The boy is in a very good school, is happy. We are healthy. Life is beautiful. Yeah. That's the appearance.
On paper.
On paper.
Yes.
Exactly. And then like my frustration, so I started to be frustrated already at that time. And this girl had an impact already, because I felt like, again, I'm not heard. People, like the closest people to me, they cannot hear me. They cannot hear how uncomfortable this make me feel, because where is the help?
Was it weeks or months before you put this ultimatum to him to say, if you don't speak to her, I will?
It was months. Yeah, I mean, this girl was for 4 months with us. But I think already the first months I realized that she would not help with the boy, to talk to the boy. And the reason why we wanted to have a German-speaking au pair with us, but she was so introverted, and she would spend. Again, I'm really sorry. I appreciate everything, but this girl was sent to us, but she had some issues, because she would not go out. She was not going out. She would be in her bedroom, a very tiny, actually, also. Because I challenged my partner many, many times, and I was like, that she's not okay, the girl. Maybe they told you, and that's why she's here. They want to try. The only thing I know is that this girl had a relationship with the boyfriend that didn't like, the family that didn't like. Okay. So maybe they tried to separate, her from him. Whatever was it. What I know is something that the last, she asked me if the partner with the boyfriend could come and stay with us for 2 weeks and still have a holiday, together. So, for me, it really was a no way. Yeah. I noticed something when I got pregnant. There was something already.
That's very open.
That happened between us. We truly wanted to have a child together. Mm-hmm. And I can say this with a massive smile in my heart, that this boy exists because of so much love with two people.
Yes. And
we wanted to have a family together. We share the same values. Yeah. And that's, a good base to go ahead. However, when I look back, I felt this back at that time, but now I'm sure. I mean, at least this is my perception, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I got pregnant, something triggered already my partner, something. And I felt there was a kind of not separation between us, but something was not there.
Was there a strain?
I think maybe, yeah. I felt very lonely during my pregnancy. I didn't share that with him, but I felt extremely lonely. He was out of town a lot, and even more when the baby was there. So I would be on maternity leave and spending like weeks alone with the boy, and was very tough. And then I realized that, yeah, there was something not okay with him, and I tried to talk to him because back in my family, I noticed there were some issues in the relationship. My sister got separated. There was a huge drama in the family. So I wanted basically I want to create something better.
Yeah.
And I believe so much in that. So I use the communication and the trust and the transparency. So I was asking my partner, are you okay? There was a major event that happened in his life at the beginning of our relationship that had a massive impact on his life. I don't feel like going into the details, but I mean, there was a major event, was very sad.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, I was just like asking me, why don't you do something? Why don't you work? Why don't you do something to relieve all of this? Or, because it was very hard time.
Yeah.
And I think that when I got pregnant, possibly subconsciously, and him, there was a recall to this previous experience.
Right.
So
that's what you do.
I think so. Yeah. That still today, that's my perception. There was a massive trigger. So, and now I understand that if you do not process your traumas or your experiences, you keep them in your life, in the other relationship, you reproduce, stay. And then I kind of felt I had this confirmation, because the way how we started talking to each other was like, it would tell me, oh, I'm so happy that I can go cycling, because before I was I didn't have the freedom to go cycling. And I was like, oh, wow, really, sport is so important to me. I need to go swimming. Of course you can go cycling. So I realized that sometimes these kind of recalls, they would show up in my relationship with him.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I started feeling the frustration, so I started being unhappy in our marriage, was when he became more like rigid. And there was like, I think it was hard there, because what was happening with me was challenging him, and I would put barriers on his side to say, no, now you are not allowed to put me down because of you feel frustrated with your job. You got this job, is high position, you are a director, you are in the board of directors, and you deliver exactly, and that's it. So, and I sat in myself, I wanted to be him. I wanted to be him. I wanted to be very cold at work. I wanted not to show up my feelings. I wanted to deal. So this started already in London, when I had a colleague, which was my line manager, who started bullying me, I started feeling insecure. Insecure. So I would go to, I would take a grammar English lesson again. I mean, I would go to pronunciation classes. I would ask my husband, can you check if this email is written properly?
So you needed to be reassured.
Yes. So now I can recognize that. I was not aware that. I recognize that. And possibly, I mean, I'm sure this had also an impact on him and on our relationship, I think. So I realize now I can say that the relationship was not for independence.
Okay, yeah.
You say that, no? That was a codependence. Yeah. So I was depending. And I think I've always been dependent on other people, on my partner, because this is what I've seen in my family. My mom was not independent.
You say that to your husband, was Richard didn't really want to receive or go there, what you was trying to come out of you.
Yeah.
So what did you do with your voice then? If you was unable to share it at home, what did you do? Did you keep it inside, or was it another avenue for you to exhale?
Last year when I got up, the burnout, and I started, so I took time to be on my own. I was trying to reach out to him. And, clearly, I mean, I could see that there was no way we could talk to each other. I feel it was not doing well, and he possibly wanted to show to me how strong he was, because again, he was raised in that way. So when you have somebody that clearly tells you no, I felt alone in my marriage, and I felt I didn't want to be in this marriage anymore. This was not the person I married 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I was shocked. It was very hard for me to admit that this was happening, because I idealized, I wanted to be like him. So it's like, how suddenly now happened that I don't want to be with this person anymore, because, if I can't be myself, and if I can't communicate, if, excuse me, I can't share my feelings, what's the point? I know that we have the same values, but it's still not enough for me. It was very hard. Last year, when everything stopped, while I was building myself up together, till I'm still doing that, by the way, I realized how much life is in me, like I want to live. I really hope that, I am lucky enough to live more time. I cannot live life now. I'm creating new stuff. I'm like recreating myself. And I so much love life. And I would ask, let's go out, let's have a drink together, let's jump into the water early in the morning. And it was no. So I realized that he was not doing well. I tried to convey this to him. I think it was very hard for him to accept that. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I respect it. But one day, I remember exactly when was it, I had a switch. I said, I don't want to live this life. The thing is that what I did wrong, I did not share this with him. So I was demanding communication, but at that time, I just stopped the communication because I felt helpless.
Yeah, helpless. Powerless.
I was like, okay, I know that. I don't know how we're gonna do this. I don't want to be with him anymore for these reasons. I kept this for myself. I just show by example when I started being away from him, like not engaging with him anymore, but I look outside for listening. I found it fun enough. I found it exactly the day when I decided to stop this pain I had. I had the pain not to be able to have the relationship I wanted to have. I could not recognize the person. So I felt I could not do anything because I was trying, we are together already since 5 years. So I thought that the power of our relationship would help and would allow me to reach him. Was not the case. And again, it was not the case because me or because of him. I think just the circumstances. And I feel and I know that when the pain is too hard, the suffering is difficult to open up. So I do understand that. So I just started and I said that again, my rebellion is there. So I think I was also triggered from a different perspective and say, this is not the life I want to live. But I knew at that point that, we have a small child and the situation from my partner perspective was getting worse. I could see it was getting worse. And myself, I felt very much responsible also, the boy, and to create a kind of happiness around him because there was not really happiness in the house. Yeah, that was my...
There's an English saying, giving you a taste of your own medicine. And that sounds like you was doing with your husband last time. Okay, you're not communicating with me. I've got this pain. I don't want to live this life anymore, but I'm not going to communicate this with you.
Perhaps, yes. I don't know. I think so. Could be so. And also I realized that now I feel like I felt I was in charge of, I was like the mommy, I felt I can save people and I need to, and this has been the role in my family. I recognize that I had this role in my family to help my dad with something, to talk to my mom. Then, I would have my mom calling me and saying, can you please speak with your sister? Can you please help your brother with university, with
points in your life, who is there to rescue you?
Myself. That's what I'm doing. I need to rescue myself. I need to save myself till now. And it's not what I'm trying now to convey to people that they can, my family now, what's happened? They cannot recognize me. They say, oh, we cannot recognize you anymore now. And for me, that really, this is the authentic me. This is just me. And I'm sorry, people, they cannot recognize me anymore. But this is just me. And now I can't negotiate this anymore. It's not negotiable. My authenticity. And I'm not doing any, I'm even explaining to people why I'm taking certain action. I don't know the reason of everything I'm doing or every action I'm taking. Not all the time, sorry. I'm in a process, I'm in my journey.
Yeah.
But this is just me. Until now, still as a family, I cannot. It's again a judgment. I can't recognize you. You are not, I don't know what you're doing. Pleasing everybody. Yeah. I was trying to help everybody. Who was helping me? Nobody. And this is it. I mean, Gary, that's what you do as a profession now. If people are not committed to help themselves, they will end up with the suicide. That's the reality.
That's not comfortable for other people. And we take on that concept, it's comfortable for me.
Yeah, and I don't want to live this life. It's not for me. That's not for me. I say myself, and I will stand for myself now.
I'm no longer ashamed. I want to be free. I'm doing this for me.
Yeah, I'm doing this for me. Yeah, it's my call. It's very hard. I mean, I'm challenging my partner. I talk about him because, of course, I shared most of the time with him.
Yeah.
I'm challenging him so much. And sometimes, we're saying that before, he's such an amazing person and nobody would be able to support or to shadow my journey. But it's really my personal goal. And it's nothing, I don't have hate. I don't have actually I have so much love towards the universe and the human being because I'm working on the compassion. I didn't know that compassion where I grew up was feel sorry for people.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Pity.
Yeah, pity.
Yeah.
Pity. And now it's when you do develop compassion, I think it's great what Gabor Mate and the other lady, I can't recall the name, they have done with this therapy. It's great. It's wow. It's amazing because you develop love towards people and understanding.
Transformation.
Unbelievable. Yeah. It is.
What would you do, the woman there or the man? How would you encourage it? Because your story is great, you've done it, but they might be sitting there saying, but I don't know how to do it. I want to, but I can't, or I don't want to be shut down again. What would you say to that person?
To say themselves.
Say themselves.
Yeah, just to do what they feel like. Last year, I recognized I was not able to tell Eric that at that moment I was not becoming available anymore.
The boundaries.
Boundaries. And I think that was possibly what actually was an alarm for him because I was not available anymore. I would just say I don't really feel like I want to come to Germany with you. I don't feel I want to do that. And I changed exactly. I changed my path was different, and maybe that was a sign, gave a sign to the other person to react. But I don't know if everybody could react as well. I think it depends also on the status of your very personal status. What I would tell people now, I have the answer. I think, Gary, is to trust ourselves. Like what I'm working now with myself is to trust myself, to trust my feelings, to listen to my body. So I do feel that my journey ahead now is to connect more with my body because my body has the memory and my body can really tell me what is happening. Because the brain, is the ego. The ego boycotts us. Mm-hmm. But what do we really want? So I'm still looking for my inner truth. And I'm curious about that. Yeah. So for me also it's okay, if this situation happened to you, could you be curious? Could you ask yourself why this person came to my life? So now I have this conversation with my husband, instead of seeing drama, because I've been raised like that as well. Again, good, wrong, this, and I just see an opportunity, and I see this an opportunity. Why this person came to my life? How do I mirror? What part of myself I can mirror into this person? And this is a different life. Gives you, you can sit and you can feel relief instead of feeling that somebody is in your life because you want to hit you. I want to do. That's not the life I want to live.
That's really refreshing. Really, really refreshing.
Yeah. So work on our.
But when there's a firm sort of boundary, that's often when you take notice. And as you said with your husband, you becoming less available was then you then had his attention.
Yeah.
It wasn't the way you wanted it, but you then got his attention.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And the reason why now I started the journey, I don't know if one day I would be on your position. I hope so. Is truly because I wish we as a community of therapists or whatever, we can raise up the voice to support people to be, because it's not bad to be your authentic self. It's okay. You need to respect. The more you respect your needs, the more you can be with other people and you can educate other people to, with whatever you need. I think it's really, I see this as a teamwork. But you need to have the courage to stand up and to stand out for yourself. And I love it. I want to recall what you just said, vulnerability. Why a man, a man, no? Yeah, a boy, a man cannot be vulnerable. Why the society doesn't? Why are we creating a society when a man which in my case could be my partner, doesn't feel free to tell me about or to talk about his vulnerability. That's why I understand him and I have so much compassion. Like I feel the pain. Why? So I got to do something. That's why I'm studying. I got to do something. I want to go to schools. I want to educate human beings to be vulnerable. It's beautiful to be vulnerable. People, they need to love ourselves for what we can do. And we have so many facades.
Encouraging men to be vulnerability. What's stopping us? How does it affect relations? Not just husband and wife, but generally as a son, with mum, dad, friendships, and we need to change that impression that it's more than fine. It's not just okay. It's freedom, as you said, to be vulnerable.
Yeah, absolutely. And there are some differences in the nature between men and women. That's why, for some reason, my boy, this is something, my boy asked me, but why was you who had me in your belly and not daddy? Yeah, exactly. Let's open and debate about that.
Yeah.
Women, we behave in certain ways. We feel this frustration, and men, they feel other things.
Yeah. Ivana, thank you. Well done. Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you once again. Thanks for listening to the Counselling Podcast. If you'd like to get in contact, you've got the usual sites, the website, the social media forums, or contact Rachel directly. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.